Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to take a moment to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to meet with us today. My name is Ashley Moore, and I am the project manager appointed by Sinatra Digital Corporation to lead a team of highly skilled individuals on the creation of a training program that has been designed to reinforce the 8 competencies that were identified by the recently conducted Organizational Needs Assessment. The objectives of this training program are to reinforce the mission statement, vision, and strategic goals of Sinatra Digital, enhance skills of the workforce, and improve teamwork and coordination. This training program will allow for Sinatra Digital to remain competitive in the digital music market and bring them closer to their mission of being a leader in high-production digital music. First and foremost, I would like to introduce you to our project management team. We have our software designers, Taylor Beddick and Madison Shayak, and our trainers, Mallory Kemp and Daniela Peterson. To begin, Taylor will present an update on the progression of the project thus far. Madison will then take you through the constraints, and I will follow with the lesson plans and training schedule. Next, Mallory will present the evaluation plan, followed by Taylor, who will discuss our updated budget. We will finish off with Daniela, who will take you through the risk assessment, risk response matrix, and the communication plan. Taylor?
Thank you, Ashley. Building upon our mid-status report, we have now completed the initiation stage and the planning stage of this project with only a few minor setbacks. Overall, our critical path remains the same and the timeline is still on target to meet our milestones and goal for the project. As we move into and throughout the execution stage, we have completed all of the lesson plans for Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 training, and we are currently finishing off the execution of Tier 1 training while preparing to begin the online and in-class training for Tier 2. Since the mid-status report, we have made needed adjustments to our communication plan, evaluation plan, and budget plan, as well as updates to our risk assessment, and developed a comprehensive risk recognition matrix. All of these important updates will be explored further throughout this presentation.
Similar to last time, we identified a number of constraints in the project, including scope, time, and budget. To start, the project required us to stay within the scope when developing the lesson plans. Lesson plans were carefully developed to reflect the scope, mission, and topic of the project. At the start of each training session, the goal of the training project was reiterated to the members. So far, all training sessions have been executed within the outlines. For our schedule and to stay within the time frame for this project, our allocated buffer had been a great assist to help us stay on track and help the trainers stay on track. Communication and the communication plan have been utilized to keep within the time frame, adapt schedules, and evaluate tiers. Currently, we are still on track to complete this project by the deadline of December 20th, 2020. For our final constraint, we continue to stay within budget. While costs have increased, we budgeted an initial surplus to accommodate any issues that may arise or unplanned costs that we didn't see as we move through the execution stage and into the final stage, the evaluation stage. We remain within budget with a slight surplus to assist with any other foreseen costs as we continue on. Now Ashley will take some time to walk through the completed lesson plan and training schedules.
As you will see from our lesson plans, each training module has been put into tiers. Tier 1 consists of understanding the corporate vision, understanding the strategy and goals of the vision, and communication. Tier 2 will focus on teamwork, innovation, and customer focus. And lastly, Tier 3 consists of technical expertise and adaptability. Each lesson plan provides a description on how the training will be delivered, the objectives of the training, materials and supplies that are needed, and a complete breakdown of the course outline. Our training schedule has also been divided by tier. Tier 1 e-learning access will open on July 6th and is to be completed by August 31st. In-class training will commence July 6th with sessions running daily until the closing date of August 28th. Tier 2 will begin online September 8th with a closing date of September 30th, and in-class sessions will begin September 8th, running daily until the closing date of September 29th. And lastly, Tier 3 will begin e-learning on October 14th with access closing on November 16th, and in-class training will run daily starting October 14th to November 16th.
The evaluation plan consists of 11 steps. The first steps are completed by the trainers, and they are develop the questions for the test, prepare the test, and administer the test. Once the tests are completed, the next steps are then to collect the results, certify the employees, and input the results. Together, the project team will analyze the results, interpret the data, and debrief. The last two steps are completed by the project manager. The project manager will prepare a report from these results and distribute this report to shareholders. Next, we will discuss the main targets of our evaluation plan. In order to evaluate the success of this training program, we developed and have been following our evaluation plan. This plan not only obtains feedback on the content of the training, but also takes into account the success of our budget and project timeline. Some of our main targets are 90% or more of all trainees that attend the training sessions receive 75% or higher on the quiz. Trainees attend 90% or more of the in-class training for the original date. 95% or more of the trainees found the training to be effective, informative, and had positive feedback on the training. Two more of our targets are 90% or more of the training will be finished on November 18th, 2020, and training will remain under budget or will not exceed $600,000. By setting these targets, it allows us to reflect on the training content and to evaluate the overall success of the project. It is important for our team to have high standards in order to strive for the highest quality results. Next, Taylor will go over our budget plan.
With the initiation and planning stages complete and the progress made into the execution stage underway, we had the ability to update the budget to more accurately reflect past costs while continuing to plan and prepare for future costs. We have broken the plan into quarters to track the timeline of events, and as we move into August, the Q1 budget has been tracked, confirmed, and finalized. With the completion of the software development for the online training and the lesson plans for the in-class training, we were able to adjust our budget to more accurately reflect the expenditure of the project. There's been a slight increase to the personnel expenses from the planned budget due to a more accurate hourly representation throughout the project and some deliverables moving into the buffer time zones. This cost to the budget is now estimated at $429,975. There was also an increase to the resources required as the lesson plans and post-learning materials were developed, and a required increased software cost to assist with the demand for the online training to fit the software developers' needs. The total budget expenses now fall at $492,345, which is still within our budget of $600,000. Giving us a continued surplus of just over $107,000. Next, we have Danielle discussing the risk assessment and the risk response matrix.
A number of potential risks were identified and described in the previous status update presentation. These potential risks have now been rated on a scale of 1 to 5 on the likelihood of the risk occurring and its potential impact. A rating of 1 indicates that the likelihood of the risk is very low or that it would have a very low impact, and a rating of 5 would indicate that the likelihood of the risk occurring is very high or that it would have a very high impact. The period when the risk event would occur or have an impact is also identified. For example, the risk of exceeding the time allotment was identified as having a likelihood of 1 or a low likelihood and an impact of 4 or a relatively high impact, and would most likely occur during the execution phase of the project. In order to address the identified risks, a risk response matrix was developed. The risk response matrix identifies the risk event, how the risk event would be responded to, the contingency plan that would go into effect, and the trigger that would cause the contingency plan to go into effect. The triggers that are highlighted in orange have been modified from what was outlined in the scope statement. The risk event can be responded to by mitigating or reducing the risk, avoiding the risk, transferring the risk, or retaining the risk. Mitigating or reducing the risk means that we would be reducing the likelihood of the risk occurring or reducing the impact of the risk if it were to occur. Avoiding the risk means that we would be changing the project plan to eliminate the risk or condition. Transferring the risk means that we would be paying another party to take on the risk, and retaining the risk means that we would be consciously accepting the risk and offering a contingency plan that would go into effect if it were to occur. As we cannot transfer or eliminate any of the potential risks, we have chosen to either mitigate the risks, as is the case with the risk of exceeding the time allotment, for example, or retain the risk, as is the case with the risk of the technology malfunction. A communication plan was developed in order to ensure that all the major deliverables of the project are clear, organized, and communicated to the necessary parties. The table on this slide includes any major information that needs to be communicated, who the information is going to be communicated to, when the information is going to be communicated, what the method of communication will be, and who is responsible for the communication. For example, the first deliverable that needs to be communicated was the project charter. This was communicated to the project management team as well as the CEO of Sinatra Digital Corporation. The project charter was communicated during the initiation phase of the project in the format of a formal written document which was put together by the project manager, Ashley Moore. The items highlighted in orange were not in the previous submission of the communication plan within the scope statement, as they have been added recently.
In conclusion, as we come to the end of our 5th phase, our team is feeling optimistic about the remainder of the project. At this point, we have completed the initiation and the planning stage. Lesson plans are complete, and we have finished Tier 1 of training and are in the beginning phases of Tier 2. We have updated our communication, evaluation, and budget plans, as well as our risk assessment and risk recognition matrix. We have also given ourselves extra time for those who miss training slots and set extra money aside in case of emergencies. Our plans for next steps are clearly outlined and designed to continue to stay within our budget. We feel confident that these changes and precautions have allowed our project to continue to stay on track with our goals. At this time, we do not feel that we need to request more time, money, or people to complete the project by its deadline. We would like to thank you for attending our Stage 5 update on the progression of our training program. Take care.